I've stumbled so many times and have failed so often. Fast forward to today, we're almost in like 1,100 communities in all 50 states. My grandmother, she lived to be 93 years old, lived in a senior living community. And honestly, man, like her quality of life was crap. Partners Commonwealth Senior Living did a silent disco in their community, and it made like national news coverage.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining me on the CAREpreneur Show. We got an exciting guest, Matt Reiners. He is the co-founder of Eversound, a technology company dedicated to ending social isolation for older adults by giving every resident the gift of hearing. After seeing his grandmother struggle with hearing, Matt, along with his co-founders, saw an opportunity to help improve the residents' quality of life through better listening experiences. A serial entrepreneur, Matt has helped start 2 companies in the past 8 years and is an up-and-comer in the senior living industry. Matt is the recipient of the 2018 Forbes 30 Under 30, 2019 Argentum Senior Living Leader Under 40, and 2018 National Association of Activity Professionals Business Affiliate Award of Excellence. And man, Matt is quite the impressive bio, brother. That's awesome, man.
I appreciate that, Chris. I'm not that cool though. Just have to say that. So.
Dude, well, you know what though? You guys are doing some pretty cool things though, man. That's what it's all about, you know?
No, I appreciate that, Chris. Thank you.
I know you spoke, here about kind of just, isolation in older adults and, kind of giving every resident that gift of hearing and seeing your own grandmother struggle with this. I mean, kind of help me understand, like, when you were in maybe high school, college, what did you want to be when you grew up? And then what led you into this field? I mean, obviously I know there's that background story, but like kind of, walk us along that journey.
Yeah, absolutely. So in high school and college, I really had no idea what I wanted to do in life. I think I still don't, and I'm 32 now, but yeah, still trying to just improve the quality of life and just trying to like build things that matter, right? I mean, that's kind of always what I've been gravitated towards. And when you think about Eversound and how we kind of started it, so my co-founder, Jake, and I, we grew up together, have known each other since we were 5. Our moms were co-presidents of Legal Women Voters together. Our dads are professors in the same department at the same school. Wow. He used to have a locker in front of me throughout high school, which is just crazy when you think about that. We grew up playing baseball and stuff together. And, there's actually something that happened before Eversound where while Jake was still in college, I was not even a year out. We saw an opportunity to create another company that was helping people around the country throw silent disco events. Have you ever heard of a silent disco before?
I have not, man. Enlighten me. What is that like?
Of course. So imagine a room full of people dancing to out loud music, and everything is being played through wireless audio or wireless headphones. It's probably the most absurd thing you'll come across, but like colleges, music festivals, weddings, really solving the problem of noise restrictions, which, can be pretty much anywhere. So we started this company, just really dry hiring that service out to people. And, again, saw an opportunity to bring more fun and enjoyment to the world. So we grew that, successfully year over year. And then kind of like 5 or so years into that, 2 things kind of happened simultaneously. One was my grandmother, which was kind of the inspiration for this story or for this company where, she lived to be 93 years old, lived in a senior living community in New Jersey. And honestly, man, like her quality of life was crap. Like she wouldn't go to programs, wouldn't go to events, wouldn't even go to meal times. And when I would try and better understand why, her philosophy was, I can't hear what's going on, so why should I even bother? And she would isolate herself to her room. She'd blast her television or listen to her romantic fantasy novels through her own headphone system, which I grew to learn were not PG. So, hey, more power to you, Grandma. But, feel fortunate enough that I had the opportunity to try Eversound with her, listen to some of her favorite music, have a conversation with her before she passed. So that happened. And then right around the same time, we started receiving phone calls from senior living communities, basically asking for help. And what they were kind of describing is what they were going through is, especially in group programs. So think bingo, resident council meetings, music, where everybody's hearing was at different levels. So some people wanted the volume up, others wanted the volume down. Some people wouldn't even come out because they couldn't hear. Hearing aids were not the best solution for that. So what they were looking for was a wireless headphone system designed for groups with individual volume control on each headphone, which is basically a silent disco headphone. So it was around this time that Jake and I, not really knowing any better, we just started walking into senior living communities in upstate New York, where we were based at the time. And some of these demos, man, would leave you crying, just like tears of joy of just like hearing or seeing these experiences, almost like the veil being lifted over somebody's eyes. And, I think one of the first.
Is this like for them to be able to communicate with each other, or for them to like listen or watch or see something that they maybe hadn't been able to in a while? Like was it something that connected to like a TV, or like something that connected to a program that you guys were running, or what?
Yeah, so both. So pretty much how it would work is people reconnecting, whether it was, so you could plug like a transmitter into any audio source. So television, computer, laptop, microphone system, and then broadcast to all the headphones. So it would be these experiences of, I remember one gentleman by the name of Vern Rockcastle, probably the coolest name I think I've ever heard for somebody. I've also heard of a Steve Steelhammer, but we could probably go on a whole other show about cool names. But Vern was 90.
No, I was just picturing like, cause what was it called? The silent disco? What did you call that? I was just picturing like, can you imagine the combination of like a silent disco in a senior living facility, like walking into that one,
It happened. So they've happened. I'll have to send you some videos after this. One of our partners, Commonwealth Senior Living, did a silent disco in their community, and it made like national news coverage. So it's really cool to see how one side of the spectrum is starting to influence the other to have these fun events.
And like, I know I want to get to where you're going, but like at the same time, it's also like interesting because, I feel like coming from, where you like came from, that world of the silent disco, like it just seems like you like naturally just walked into this one. Like, I didn't feel like there was a very big like indicator. It was like, all right, next step. It seemed like it kind of all flowed really like seamlessly together. Is that the case, or is that just how the story like came together? I mean, it's awesome.
No, I mean, it definitely feels like that, thinking back to it. So we were running both companies simultaneously because we thought running one startup was so much fun. We wanted to do two simultaneously, but, have recently, we sold that side of the business back in 2019 to one of our friends. I actually just talked to him like 20 minutes ago about something. So we're still kind of evolved from like that perspective, but, I mean, it was just kind of, fate, serendipitous, whatever you want to call it. It just kind of came to be a thing. And it's been a wild ride.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Yes. I didn't mean to get you off track there, but like when, obviously coming back into the senior living side of things. So, here you are giving people these experiences, whether it's through television, but kind of group broadcasting this out to them. Are they wearing headphones similar to like the one that you're wearing today, or?
Not exactly to the ones I'm wearing, but it's similar concept. So it's like on the ear headphone that would sit. And what we basically saw, the opportunity was no one was really creating a system that was tailor made to an older adult user and built for senior living communities. So, there's a plethora of what that even means, but like hearing aid compatible, antimicrobial materials, you don't need Wi-Fi to do anything, because I think we all know that Wi-Fi isn't the best in some communities. So, we created our own system, and I'm not the tech guy, so I have to shout out Kostas Papadopoulos, who's our CTO, electrical engineer by trade. We've been working with over 5 years now, who's really built a system from the ground up, tailored to this older adult user and to senior living communities to really maximize their use of it, and just making it really, really simple for all parties involved.
Yeah. How did you come to meet him?
Yeah, so we were working with a product development firm and honestly ran into kind of a few hiccups, and we had to bring on an outside consultant, and we were introduced to Kostas as being someone who could fix really any problem. And so he came on as a consultant. He really loved the story and how we were helping people. And, he joined us full time. So he's one of the early employees that we started working with. And
so just for perspective, like what time frame was this? Like what year was this? Like when you guys were coming together for this?
2016 or so. So 5 years ago. Yeah. So like early on when we were really starting to evaluate Eversound, because we learned that, we couldn't just take the silent disco headphones and do what we wanted to do. We really needed to build our own system.
Gotcha. That's awesome, man. Yeah. So that was back when you guys were in the garage still then, right?
Yeah. So we've worked in garages, living rooms. I mean, it's definitely, yeah,
every
free
successful
office space
start.
we could get.
Every successful startup starts in a garage, right? That's how it goes, you know? So, um, but no, that's awesome, man. So, I mean, like, I'm thinking about kind of, like, you know, at that point in time, were you like, hey, let's go build a business in senior living? Or was it like, you know, I like this idea. I like what it's doing for people. It's amazing to see the impact. Or like how did, like, when it was like the commitment, like, let's do this, you know, all in senior living, let's focus on that field.
Yeah, so I would say it was, definitely a rumbling opportunity, and just hearing some of these demos and some of the things that were coming out of it. I think where we really put our, you know, gas or the foot on the gas and
Yeah.
was like, hey, we got to go do this, when we started raising some money around that. And
Yeah.
really, the investors want to see, of course, you putting your time, effort, and energy towards something that they're giving you hundreds of thousands of dollars for. So
Sure.
that's where we hired someone for the other side of it, systematize that, and really just started learning and failing fast, especially on the senior
Yeah.
living side. I mean, that's really what I've learned, is that, I've stumbled so many times that have failed so often, but it's just a matter of coming back every single day to, fast forward to today, we're almost in like 1,100 communities in all 50 states.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So is that like when you think about, you know, where you guys are today and where you want to go with it? I mean, you know, what is your ultimate goal for Eversound? You know, is there a, you know, is it nationwide in the United States? Is it more kind of global? Like where do you foresee Eversound going?
Yeah, so I think it depends on the timeline. I think over the next 5 years, we continue to really just get really freaking good about helping some of the communities here stateside. We're building out an on-site community success model where we'll have team members on site visiting communities and really just helping to set them up for success. At our core, it's really just to improve quality of life for older adults. So we're starting to explore, other hearing health services, some of the headphone side, and just creating a system that just makes life easier and life more enjoyable for, especially, for these senior living communities. I do expect we'll find some other secondary markets which are already starting to poke their heads, but
Yeah.
being a small startup, we're really trying to go an inch wide and a mile deep, and really just focus on the service component of it, because at the end of the day, we are a service company.
Sure. And when you think about the number one reason why someone might use, you know, this service, like what, you know, or use Eversound, like what would that be? Like, what do you find to be the most common, you know, benefit that, you know, our seniors are getting from your company?
Yeah, so I think it really comes down to their experience, right? It's just, the ability to hear, the ability to participate, where if you haven't really experienced that, and, for me, if I go to a restaurant, it's too loud, I tend to back out from conversation. So I'm no longer a part of it. And I think just to hear these stories of people being able to engage with their world again, to take part in, the worship service that they haven't been able to hear in 15 years. And like, we've heard stories of people feeling like real Christians when that happens, which is just so
Right.
powerful. I think that is why I see people wanting to do it. But then on the other side, I also see communities adopting it to help to tell that story, and also to differentiate from some of those communities right down the street, because it definitely is a marketing and sales approach to it, that would allow to help with some of those other business outcomes as well. But I think it's really those communities that are prioritizing resident well-being are taking things like Eversound seriously and really considering them.
Absolutely. Yeah. I guess I didn't know if there's like a use case where, you know, like a certain, like, do they enjoy, you know, being around other people and kind of hearing from that? Or if it's like, you know, like, I don't know if it connects to does it connect to your phone? Like, can you have like yeah.
So you can connect it to your phone. I mean, you can connect it to really to audio source. There's a microphone built right into it. So like during the pandemic, we actually had people using it for like window
Ah,
visits. So like
Yeah.
behind me, I've got Ms. Josie, who celebrated her 100th birthday with Eversound. Her family wanted to visit her, couldn't go inside, but they're able to have a conversation with her through the window utilizing Eversound. So
That's awesome, man. That's
yeah,
awesome.
so it's really cool to see stories like that, popping up, and to think too that it wouldn't have been possible if we didn't like start this, is just like,
Yeah.
I'm just so grateful for that opportunity to help support some of the heroes on the front line, and drive meaningful experiences.
that's awesome, man. Really, it's cool how you guys are making a difference, man. It really is awesome. You know, you know, what has always interested you the most about, like, I mean, you kind of being the serial entrepreneurial side of things, like, you know, is it what strikes you the most in your role? Is it the, is it the marketing and the kind of the sales side of it? Is it the operations? Is it the, I don't know, is it the social aspect of it making a difference? Like, what do you think is the one thing that, I guess just, really like fulfills that entrepreneurial, spirit that you have?
Yeah. So I think what it boils down to is just the ability to create something that wasn't there before that's helping people. So like that is just what gets me super excited. I mean, and that's why I love this industry. And, honestly, before Eversound, I didn't know much about it. I just knew that my grandmother lived in one. It didn't smell good. And that was pretty much my extent of the knowledge. But just love this industry so much because you can create something and do good and help people, which is just like, I feel sometimes rare in startup life. I can go create the newest app fintech that's like going to help you save money. But like at the end of the day, we have family members reaching out to us, thanking us that their dad said, I loved you, because you could actually hear them for the first time in years. It just like, fills that hole, and it's super powerful.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. It's cool seeing what you guys are doing, man, and especially too because you're fairly young. I mean, how old are you?
I'm 32.
32. Yeah. So I mean, that's the coolest part about it is that being in your early 30s, making a difference in an industry that I feel like it does not have a lot of 30-year-olds paying attention to. And so that's exciting, man, to see what you guys have built in these last few years and what you're continuing to build.
Awesome. No, I appreciate that, Chris, and yeah, couldn't agree more.
When you think about like your I don't know, like a favorite book or whatnot, is there anything that comes to mind as far as like for people out there that kind of have that entrepreneurial journey? I feel like they're always interested in what other people are interested in, like who they're plugging into as their mentor, their kind of like their go-to person, so.
Yeah, so I'd say book, it's definitely The Alchemist. I just love the concept of that. And I think it's great for really any entrepreneur because it's this grand oasis dream, right? And kind of all the crap that you need to put up with on your path there. And, just continuing to think of that greater good and what's your why. And, that's kind of what I take out of it. So that is definitely what, sits with me. Absolutely.
Awesome, man. Is there anyone that you would consider to be like a mentor that has been a mentor to you, or someone that you kind of plug into regularly to just, learn or to get advice or to kind of be motivated by?
Yeah. So I would consider like direct mentors or like that relationship. So Jack York from IN2L, you probably know Jack from the conference. He's been so kind to us as an organization in terms of like just, early on, just kind of taking Jake and I underneath his wing and inviting us to dinners. We had no rhyme or reason to be at with some of like the biggest players in the space, and just being super kind and like just helpful and thoughtful. And, he's definitely in it for the right reasons. And then another one who's top of mind is Cheryl Crooks from Point Click Care, who's just amazing. Every time I talk to her, I learn something new, and she's been in the space for a while. And I couldn't say enough nice things about Cheryl. She's amazing.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Super cool, brother. It's exciting what you guys are doing, man. And I also know you're a new dad too, right? So adjusting to new dad life, right?
New dad life, yeah. So she'll be 3 months on the 2nd of June, of September. She was born in the 2nd of June, but yeah, trying to adjust all of that. At least I don't have any more hair to pull out. So yeah, it's been really. It's changed me for the better. So it's been a great experience so far.
When maybe one last question too, when you think about like, attracting other people into this space, like that are younger and that want to make a difference. I mean, what do you think it needs to, bring people into this, this senior care space? Like, what can we do to bring more people on board,
Yeah. So I think one of the things is just awareness, right? So I think there's more college programs coming up that are specializing in this, that I think if there's even just opportunities for people to try and get some of these people when they're fresh, I think that's good. And I also think there's opportunities in that awareness for just the education piece to show the opportunity of senior living. And I think that idea of, doing good while helping to create a serious business, right? Like some of these businesses are big time. It's just kind of as a blend of all of that, where I think this industry already attracts like people that are in it for the right reasons. I'd probably say like 85 to 90% of people are here to help. But just trying to find more of those people and kind of meeting them where they are, and just trying to, educate them on it's not just like the old nursing home that I think everyone's kind of stuck in their head, and just trying to make them aware of it, because I have no intention to ever leave this space. I'm infatuated by it.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. I mean, it's, yeah, I love what you're saying there too, because I think at the end of the day, like you said, it does attract all the right, people. I mean, just like we were at the Ignite conference, and all the right people that were, all the people that were there, they were the right people, man. It was awesome seeing all this young enthusiasm, this energy, in the senior care world, So it's awesome stuff, man. I'm excited for what you guys are, have built and what you're going to continue to build. Yeah, appreciate you spending some time with me and kind of sharing your journey, brother.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it, Chris. And, thank you so much for what you do for this space and continuing to, give voice to those to share their stories. And, I'm grateful for the opportunity.
That's what it's all about, man. Trying to spread that awareness, letting people know, So we want to bridge the, bring those people together that are, those entrepreneurial spirited folks, into that healthcare space. How can we bring those two worlds together, and attract more people to the space to make a difference and have an impact on people's lives. So appreciate you joining me, Matt. Thanks again, brother. If you guys would like to learn more about Eversound and what Matt is doing over there, make sure you click on the link in the descriptions. We'll have all of his information down there. And Matt, thanks for joining me today, and we'll see y'all soon. Hey guys, thank you so much for making it this far. If you'd like to watch last week's episode, click here. If you'd like to watch more exciting content on senior care, click here. If you'd like to learn how to open up your own adult daycare, assisted living, or home care agency, click here, chrischana.com. This is for all those senior care entrepreneurs out there. And let's get back to work.